Liberia went through its own trauma, particularly these areas, Nimba County and Grand Jede County, were some of the areas that saw some of the worst fighting during Liberia's civil war. And many of the people living here were actually refugees who sought shelter across the border in Ivory Coast itself. And I think that's been one reason why they've been so generous in taking in the refugees this time. Many of them told me, we were once victims of war. We once had to go across to the other side and sought help. Now we're repaying that hospitality. We can see people are in need. We don't want to see such suffering, and we're willing and able to help them. These are very poor communities themselves. For the most part, they're just subsistence farmers, and they're running out of food. They've been given the families food and shelter, but now they're running out of food themselves, and that is a growing concern. The news is moving very quickly inside Ivory Coast or Cote d'Ivoire at the moment. I think people will hesitate before they go back immediately. They will want to make sure that it is calm, that there aren't reprisals. Many of them fled villages and saw people killed in front of them. So I think they're going to wait and see. They're not going to rush back. But there are many people I spoke to who've been separated from relatives, from loved ones, and they want to go back. They want to find out what's happened to my husband, my wife, my children, my relatives. And they would prefer to go back home, but I don't think there's going to be a sudden rush to go back. I think people are going to be very cautious. There is a United Nations emergency appeal for Ivory Coast, but it's still grossly underfunded, only about 30 or 40% funded at the moment. Agencies like Oxfam are scaling up its operations. Today we launched a £10 million appeal so that we could do emergency work in response to the crisis in the Ivory Coast. And we would urge people to help as much as they can. Yes, there have been many emergencies and disasters and other news hotspots around the world, but this part of Africa is desperately poor and people are desperately in need.